Well, hello and welcome to Bold Women Lawyers Spotlight Interview. I'm Sharon Christie, founder and CEO of Bold Women Lawyers. I'm your business coach and business strategist if you're a woman lawyer in solo practice. And today we have a return appearance of my friend Ruthann Bowen, who is going to tell us all about the mysteries of SEO. And as I said to Ruth Ann, we were talking about this. I know what the initials stand for. I've never been able to really wrap my head around it enough. And I've always thought it was hocus pocus. So she's going to tell me why I'm wrong about that. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about Ruth Ann. She is the CEO of Wix Design Her. She's a creative and business-minded web designer. She's located in the Pittsburgh area. She's the author of The Female Entrepreneur's Guide to Creating a Website in a Weekend. I love that. And she works with small businesses and female entrepreneurs to build beautiful modern websites that accurately reflect your brand. She holds workshops focused on the power of using branding and social media and SEO for small businesses. She's spoken lots of places: Belmont University, Grove City College, and Butler County Community College on topics including blogging and content creation. She's contributed to Business News Daily and Best Company on the importance of a professional web design. So Ruth Ann, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here today to talk about SEO, because I honestly mean that. I know what the initials stand for. Mm-hmm. I get the concept, but I feel like every time I hear about it, it's different, and the algorithms have changed, and this has changed. And that's why I said it just feels like hocus pocus to me, even though I know it's not. So can you start by just explaining, what it is and why it is so important for all of us small business owners, including certainly women lawyers in solo practice?
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you, first of all, for having me back on the show. It's always a pleasure talking with you, and especially about a topic that's near and dear to my heart, like geeky techie things like search engine optimization, which is what SEO stands for. So, in a nutshell, search engine optimization is the process of someone typing in their Google search bar or whatever browser they're in their search bar. They're typing in words, which are keywords, in order to find you. So while we're on the topic of search engine optimization, there are other phrases and terms that we're going to be discussing as well, keywords being one of them. You have the short phrases, short keyword phrases, and long tail key phrases. And literally just before we hopped on, I just got an email from Google talking about what the searches are, what are the trends in the searches right now, and they're very specific. People are looking for very specific products, very specific services. So another word that we're going to talk about when we talk about search engine optimization is niching down. That's where the specific searches are coming into play. So let's take, for example, that you are a female lawyer pick a niche for me.
Divorce law.
Divorce. Okay.
I do divorces.
Okay. So let's go down even further, because we really want to niche, because we really want to get specific. So maybe you are actually a female divorce lawyer for women 50 and above. Mm-hmm. Now we're starting to get really into the nitty gritty. And the reason why this is so important when it comes to search engine optimization is because that's what people are looking for. They're looking for that very specific search phrase to find the better answer for them. So let me go back and explain just very quickly. So again, someone comes to Google, they need to find a lawyer. What are they typing in? Those are the keywords that you need to know that you want to have on your website, in your page titles, in your headings, in your descriptions, all the places. Alt tag your images. There are a lot of different places that you can best optimize your website for organic search results. And I just want to put a little PS right here. Everything that I'm talking about right now is in regards to organic search, not paid search. They're two
Right.
different.
Right.
So
Got it.
everything that I'm discussing right now are ways that you can best optimize your website to come up better in organic search results. So
Okay.
let's take the example of this female lawyer, divorce. She works with she's a divorce lawyer for 50 and over women.
Right.
You would want to have that on your website in a lot of different places, in your copy, in your page titles, alt tagging your images, all the places that Google is reading in order to be able to index and rank your site properly. So let's talk a little bit about what happens once somebody types into their Google search bar, and I'm just going to talk about Google right now. What happens when someone types in those keywords in the Google search bar? Well, what Google has done is once you've launched your website, it's going through all of the different websites and pages that are on the internet, and it's reading them. And it's reading them literally like a newspaper. So your heading, your subheading, your body copy, and it is trying to figure out what you are, who you are, and what you're all about. So when you're creating your website, you have to remember that your most important visitor is Google when it comes to search, because Google's reading your site just like a regular visitor would be. And it's reading through all these headings, it's reading through all the keywords, all the phrases, where you're located, and it's trying to get an accurate description of who you are and what you do. So it's doing all that. It's called crawling. And then from the crawl, so it's read through, it's got a pretty decent idea of who you are and what you do if you've done it properly. And now it's going to index you. So think of the index as, the Dewey Decimal System. Remember that? When we were in a library and we'd go to the
Yes.
decimal system, right? And we'd go through and we'd look and see, okay, this number for this book. Well, essentially that's what's happening when Google is trying to pull up websites for a search. It's going through its index and it's looking to see, okay, who is a female divorce lawyer for 50 and above? And it's going to pick all of those out and put that on the search engine results page, the SERP page, page 1. That's the page everybody wants to get on page 1, because we know very few people scroll past page 1 when it comes to the results, because we have figured out, and so has Google, that once you start getting, 10 responses deep or, 20 deep, it's not as relevant, right? You start seeing things that are like, well, you know what, that's not for me. That's not relevant.
Right.
So that's why optimizing your website the best it can be for your niche is very, very important, because that process that Google is going through, that's what's ranking you in the search engine results for those keywords. So that's why it's very, very important to, number one, know who your audience is. So for lawyers, you got to know who you're talking to. You have to know and be in touch with your audience so intimately that you know that they're over 50. And maybe they're over 50 and they're just coming out of a career change too. That's another identifier that you can put into your audience niche description. Yeah. So, these people, we're looking for very specific things. So that's why it's really important to know who you're talking to, use the language that they use so that when they do land on your website, they can relate. And this also helps Google to understand who you are also. So there are a lot of things that come into play when it comes to getting found better online for search engine optimization.
So, a couple of things. First, it's music to my ears when you talk about the niche, because that's what I preach to clients too. You really have to niche it down, not just for SEO purposes, for marketing purposes in general, so
Yes.
that you are speaking directly to the people who are your best clients for sure.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um, but
100%.
so here's the question that I always, sort of comes to mind. How do you know what search terms people are using? I mean, I can say, oh, well, here's what I'd use, but I don't know that me as a lawyer is going to use the same term that a layperson would use looking for a lawyer.
Correct. And that's another reason why you want to be in communication with your ideal client and listening to them and writing down things that they say. So, as a web designer, I do this practice as well. So, when I'm speaking with somebody, a potential client or a current client, and they're expressing their pain points to me, some of the things that I hear are, I'm stuck. I tried to do it on my own, and now I've spent hours on YouTube and I still can't figure it out. I'm pulling out my hair. I want to throw out the computer. Like, these are all terms and phrases that I hear pretty much on a daily basis from
Mhm.
my ideal client. So I take those terms and those phrases and I will have them on different pages on my website in my copy, so that when they're reading through, they'll be able to relate to that particular pain point. Same thing with a lawyer. So, whatever the pain points are that your client is experiencing, you want to make sure that you're using those in your body copy. So there's that relationship building, that trust building. The other thing is too, okay, so you asked, how do you figure out your keywords? There's some places that you can go online. Answer the Public is my top answer. That's what I tell everybody.
Oh,
Go to Answer the Public. You can type in, let's say, female lawyer, female divorce lawyer. You can type that in, and Answer the Public will spit out for you phrases, questions, sentences that people have searched for those keywords. And it'll give you a really nice graph that you can download as a PDF. And it will give you a lot of other information too. I find the graph personally very satisfying to look at. But anyway, the graph is very helpful because that is actually giving you the phrases that your ideal client is actually typing in.
mhm.
The other tip that I have is Google Auto Suggest. So you'll notice when you start typing words into the search bar, Google gives you like 5 or 6 auto suggestions of things that people have typed in along that topic. So you can
Yes.
use those suggestions as well as part of
Now,
your keyword research.
okay. So keywords, I understand the idea of keywords in your website copy, but I also understand there's other places you should be using keywords. Am I right about that?
Oh, yeah, in your page titles, absolutely.
Okay.
In your
Mhm.
page titles, in your headings, in your alt tagging for your images. You want to
Mhm.
make sure that you're staying true to what the image is, but as best you can to include some of those keywords. So, for example, in your page title, if you're a female divorce lawyer for 50 and above, you can write that in your page title. So, you write female divorce lawyer for 50 and above, and then you can, put your town or whatever if you're local. And because why you want to do that is that's one of the things that Google is reading when it's trying to figure out what your website is all about. So if you're telling it very specifically, I'm a female lawyer, female divorce lawyer for 50 and above, they know where to index you for that, for
Mhm.
those words when
Mhm.
someone's looking for
Mhm.
that.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, so page titles, headings throughout your body copy. Just another tip when it comes to your copy on your website, you need to have at least 500 words. And for every 100 words, 3 to 5 should be your keywords, 3 to 5%.
Oh, okay. So now when you say you should have at least 500 words, you mean per page or?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise,
And
Google can't tell what you're all about.
okay. Okay. Yeah. That and 500 is not that hard to. It's not that hard to get to 500 words. No,
No.
I've actually been surprised by that. Okay. So how about um, the I understand what you're talking about with regard to website. What about other social media? Does SEO come into play there? And if so, how?
Yes, it does. You'll notice sometimes when you're searching for somebody, a lot of times their social media accounts come up first.
Hmm.
So, for example, if I'm looking for somebody, many times their LinkedIn profile comes up first, or their Facebook page comes up first. So, yes, having your social media presence is part of search engine optimization in a way. Um, you really want to have your website come up first, obviously, but your social media presence it does come up. It does come
Hmm.
up, and it comes up pretty high. And when you think about it, it's because those are huge platforms, huge platforms. So obviously, the traction and the traffic that they get is more than maybe just a lawyer that's just starting out, which is why those come up first. So use that to your advantage. Make sure you have your website listed on your LinkedIn profile, your Instagram profile, your Facebook profile. Make sure that you're driving traffic to your website using those platforms. Those are considered backlinks. So backlinks is a whole nother avenue that we could go down, which I'm not going to because it gets very, very techy. But backlinks are basically when another website is linking back to your website. That's like a
Hmm.
vote for your website. That Google sees that as a vote for your website. So the more backlinks that it sees coming to your website, then all of a sudden the authority of your website comes up because, oh my goodness, well, if all these people are backlinking to this website, this must be an important website and they must hold a certain amount of trust and authority with their audience. So backlinks also help with your search engine results coming up higher as well. This is why guest blogging is very helpful. So if you can write a guest blog on 50 other people's blogs, that's 50 backlinks, and they backlink to your website. That's 50 backlinks right there to your website just for guest blogging.
Okay, let's talk about blogging because I will admit I get confused. In LinkedIn, you're writing articles, and on social media, you're doing posts, and then somebody starts talking about blogging. What's the difference?
I recommend repurpose all of your social media content for a blog post.
But
Don't
when you say
reinvent
a
the
blog
wheel.
post, what do you mean? Is it a post on your website or
Oh,
is it a
yeah.
post on social media or yeah,
So
where
typically
is it?
people add a blog to their website. So what a
Mhm.
blog is it's an area of the website that houses articles that you write or you have a guest writer write
Right.
on
Okay.
topics that are of interest to your audience.
Mhm.
So the advantage of having a blog is now all of a sudden you have way more pages for Google to look at and learn about you. And so it's building that authority and that trust
Mhm.
with the
Mhm.
Google search, also with your audience. So the more you're blogging, the more content you're putting on your website for Google
Right.
to read and understand who you are and what you're all about. And the other nice thing about blogging is, remember, I was talking about answer the public earlier. You
Yeah.
can take those phrases that people have asked and turn them into blog post titles. So, what does that
Oh,
do? Well, what that does is if you are using a title in your blog that's specifically exactly the same words as what people are searching, you have a higher and greater chance of getting on page one or two for that specific search.
mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's why you really, when you're using Answer the Public, it's very, very helpful, not just for your website copy, but getting blog post ideas as well.
How about video? Does video play into all of this? And again,
Absolutely.
how?
Oh, yeah. So adding videos to your website is always a good idea. An intro video of who you are or your company. But you can also upload videos into a blog. So let's say you did a reel for Instagram, you
Mhm.
can turn that into a blog on your website. So, whatever content you're creating to put out there that is of interest to your audience, repurpose it and use it in all of the places. Now, your call to action might have to change a little bit at the end, but the meat of the copy of what it is that you're talking about, you can use it as a blog post, Instagram, LinkedIn. I do that.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think sometimes it gets lost on people because they feel overwhelmed, like, "Oh, I have to do this for LinkedIn and this for Instagram and this for, Facebook, and then there's my website, and this is just way too much," when in fact, you can take the one post, the one article, whatever it is, and then you can repurpose it, as you said, um, to all of these other places with some tweaks, but
right.
not a lot of work, right?
Correct. Yeah, because your LinkedIn audience is very different from your Instagram audience. So
Yeah.
you can say basically the same thing, but you may want to change the tone up a little bit for the
Mhm,
audience of that
mhm,
platform. But the
mhm.
main gist of what it is that you're trying to get across, whether it's educate, entertain, what have you, the main meat of what it is you're doing can be repurposed all across the platforms.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Big time saver.
So you get started and you figure out, here's some great keywords. How often should you be doing the research on the keywords? I mean, does it change over time? How does that work?
All the time.
All the time. I was afraid you were
All the
going to
time.
say that.
So, as well, not every day 24/7, but frequently, because as your business grows, you may discover a deeper niche that you want to be reaching.
Mhm.
So, we all know that our businesses start in one place, but we don't necessarily stay there. We're always moving, always growing, always learning. Maybe you're pivoting, especially if you're
Mhm.
pivoting, you're going to want to know what those new keywords are, right?
Sure.
So, yes, you just want to keep a pulse on what's working, what people are responding to. And if you find that when you're in discussions with people that their face lights up because you used a certain word, well, maybe that's something you want to include in your keyword database, and on your website, because obviously it's something that really resonated with them. So, yeah, you just want to make sure that you're updating it on a frequent basis, and maybe even not just to change it, but just to make sure you're still staying on track with the keywords that are working for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, okay. So you don't have to do all this yourself, right?
All your search engine
And all
optimization?
that.
No.
Here's because when I was in practice as a lawyer, honestly, I knew what I needed, but that was like one of the last things I had time to do. And in my current business, it's the same thing. Like, I had to prioritize, as we all do as business owners. Like, what am I really good at? I'm going to focus on that. What am I maybe not as good at? And there's somebody else who's better at it than me to help me with it. So, like, if I write an article, um, I can get help, right? For somebody to say, okay, well, this is nice, but now I'm going to fix it and put some keywords in because it's not keyword rich, and let's
Oh,
do that. Yeah, right. Okay,
yeah.
that's because
Delegate what you don't know. Yeah, hire
correct.
somebody to do it. If you don't have the time to do it, but you know that you need to increase in your
Hmm.
rankings, if you're buried like on page 10 or 20 or
Yeah,
whatever, and you want to start blogging to increase your search engine page results, absolutely. I do it. I do blog writing, copywriting for the website, and keeping the search engine optimization and all the keywords and phrases in mind as well. So
yeah.
it's
That's
optimized in such a way that it's going to get found for those keywords.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. So how do you work with clients? I'm a divorce lawyer. I represent women over the age of 50. I need help because I'm not showing up on page one. I come to Ruthann and say, help me. Tell me
Yeah,
how you work with clients and what you do.
sure. So we offer services for website design and copywriting, and that includes blogs. So I have a client right now that I write 2 blogs a month for them, 2 different clients. So if you're looking just to hire somebody to get some blog posts on there that
Mhm.
were just going to help boost your website presence and get you found a little bit higher, yes, Wix Design Her handles that. That's actually my background. I have a PR background, so I do quite a bit of work, quite a bit of writing, my journalism background. So I do offer that as a service for my clients as a separate service too. So if people don't necessarily need their website redesigned or they're
Right.
not at a place to do all the whole website thing, then we can definitely write the blog posts for sure.
Okay, terrific. So, Ruthann, if somebody who's listening wants to get in touch with you to talk to you about that or website design or any of the other services that you offer, how would she or he get in touch with you? I'm going to put this in the chat here.
Yeah, well, please visit my website because I got
Yes.
some quotes for my website. Wixdesignher.com is where you can find me. And right up at the top, I have a button that says free consultation. So click on that button and set up a time for us to discuss what your blogging needs are, copywriting needs are, website needs are. We're happy to have that discussion with you and diagnose for you what we feel would be the best avenue for you to take in order to increase your search engine results.
That's great. That's great. So it's not you have to do the website and you have to do blogging. It's depending on what somebody's needs are, they can you can customize basically to what their needs are. Is that
Yes,
right?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can even offer feedback on your copy, which I've done before too on a
Oh,
website.
interesting. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
if
That's
people
I don't
who are
know.
writing their own copy, sometimes they're not sure, and
Mm.
we can go through and make suggestions, kind of take a look and say, "Well, you don't have any keywords listed on this page, so that might be
This
a
might be a problem. I
start."
know. This might be a problem. Yeah, I don't know. It's like as a lawyer going back to, lawyers listening will remember this. The legal writing class that you do in your first year and you think you're a good writer and then it comes back and it's like there's so much red you can barely see. Well, I was handwriting back when I was in law school, so it would come back in red, but now it'd be all marked up uh, on your computer screen, all of the ways you can improve. That's I'm going to be nice when I say that. All the ways you can improve your writing, and
Correct.
yeah, that was my first lesson in being humble. When I started law school, I was like, I guess I'm not as good as I thought I was. Okay, I have
Yeah.
some things to learn. So,
Nothing like red marks all over a paper to humble yourself.
so we have a question here. Do the keywords and phrases need to be entered by the person, or can Google read it and from, say, a picture uploaded to the site?
That's where you have to add your alt tag to the images because
Okay,
Google
so you do have to add that to the image, right?
you have to add the words to the image. Mhm.
Okay. Okay. All right. So Diane, I hope that answered that question for you. Okay. Okay, good.
That was a good
All
question.
right. Well, listen. As usual, Ruth Ann, you are a wealth of information. I really appreciate you coming, and for everybody who's listening, Ruth Ann's available through her website, wixdesignher.com. You can schedule a time to talk to her and get even greater information and great services from her because she does a terrific job. So I
Oh,
thank
I
you.
have one more
Yes,
thing to add too before I forget. I'm
yes.
actually doing Wix Design Her Academy, and SEO is part of this academy. So it's Zoom lessons, 1 hour. And one of those hours, we're diving deep into SEO. So
Oh,
that's on my website.
terrific.
Yeah.
Terrific. Okay. So, and that's on the website too, the Design Academy, Design Her Academy. Okay,
Yep.
good. All right. So that's available for you. That's available for you also. And Diane, you're welcome very much. I'm glad this was helpful for you. She said, thank you. Your information was really helpful. So thank you again, Ruth Ann, for coming. And for those of you who are listening and need help with your websites, with your blogging, with your copy, get in touch with Ruth Ann, and she will be more than happy to help you. And for those of you who are listening, if you are not following me on LinkedIn, please do that. Sharon Christie at Bold Women Lawyers. Also follow me on Facebook. I'm here every week with one or more guests or one or more shows. So we talk about everything of interest to solo law firm practitioners. So we look forward to talking to you again in the future. And Ruth Ann, have a great day.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.